Good evening, one and all. We welcome you all to the international webinar series on holistic health, well-being, and sustainable development 2025, commemorating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, nation celebrating 77 years of independence, 78 years of independence, and United Nations Sustainable Development Goals 2015, 2030, and Viksit Bharat at 2047 as part of awareness and campaigns in collaboration with Sri Holistic Health Foundation India and Sri Research Institute Center for Art, Sciences and Wellbeing. Before we start our sessions, let's take the blessings of Almighty.
कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः
With the blessings of Almighty, we shall continue with today's commemorations. Today, we are commemorating and celebrating various commemorations, especially in this season where rains are prevalent. And because of water everywhere, we also have a season of mosquito breeding and various viral diseases because of water contamination and moisture and humidity content more in the environment. So this occasion gives rise to various occasions and commemorations where we can keep ourselves alert and conscious about various species that can be threatening to each other's lives. So similarly, today we are commemorating World Mosquito Day. More than just annoying summertime pest, mosquitoes are also responsible for spreading malaria, a disease that kills over 500,000 people every year. When Ronald Ross discovered that mosquitoes transmit malaria in 1897, he revolutionized our understanding of this disease and led to the increased awareness about the malaria prevention. Today, the best way to prevent the disease is to avoid bites by infected mosquitoes. Insecticide treated nets, preventive treatment for pregnant women and infants, and indoor residual spraying are all ways to reduce transmission. But the prevalence of mosquitoes in hard hit areas like sub Saharan Africa pose a challenge to the eradication measures. So, mosquitoes are those tiny blood-sucking insects which are responsible for transmitting serious diseases such as malaria with no vaccine currently available. Malaria, an ancient disease that began afflicting humans from the beginning of the agriculture and modern civilization, remains a deadly threat to people around the world. Caused by Plasmodium parasites, malaria shows up in the historic text as for people around the world. Caused by Plasmodium parasites. Malaria shows up in historic texts as far back as first millennium BCE. In fact, the first traces of malaria parasites were found in mosquito remains that over 30 million years old and beyond. So malaria has affected every continent except Antarctica and remains a widespread problem in parts of the world, including sub-Saharan Africa, South Asia, and the Caribbean. Over 200 million still contract malaria each year. In 2010, 90% of the malaria deaths occurred in Africa. The World Health Organization reports concerns about drug-resistant malaria, which can hamper efforts to reduce the spread of disease. The World Mosquito Day honors the date when Sir Ronald Ross, a British Army surgeon working in India, proved that mosquitoes transmit malaria by identifying pigmented malaria parasites in mosquitoes that fed on the infected patient. This discovery revolutionized our knowledge of the disease and led to new preventive measures. Ross won the Nobel Prize for Physiology or Medicine in 1900. So World Mosquito Day honors the day when Sir Ronald Ross declared the first World Mosquito Day then, and there stating the world must be aware of the link between mosquitoes and malaria. Although an improved understanding of the disease has led to more innovative preventive measures and medical treatments, a malaria vaccine remains elusive. The disease makes its way to Europe like traveling down the Nile to the Caribbean and spreading north in 1st century CE. After malaria decimated the population, Rome's Campagna region remained sparsely settled until as late as 19th century. Ronald Rose discovers the link between female mosquitoes and malaria transmission, leading to the new understanding of how to track and stop the spread of the disease. The Plantian region of the US Southeast was deeply affected by malaria until Tennessee Valley Authority brought power, water, and sanitations to the region in 1930s. The Center for Disease Control and Prevention, born from a prior organization called Malaria Control in War Areas, MCWA, focuses heavily on controlling and eliminating malaria in its first few years in 1946. The females of those species pick up the parasite from the infected people when they bite to obtain blood needed to nurture their eggs. The female Anopheles mosquitoes is only mosquito to transmit malaria, usually between hours of 9 p.m. and 5 a.m. So not every mosquito is responsible for malaria, only specific mosquitoes, especially female ones, and that too Anopheles mosquito is only mosquito to transmit malaria. Just a single bite from an infected mosquito can lead to a malaria. So we have to prevent We cannot go on killing all the mosquitoes in the world. See, that is not practically possible. So what we have to do, we have to take preventive measures so that we can prevent malaria. So that's an easy way without harming other species. Prevention is always better than cure, right? So team up with a local non-profit or start your own event to raise awareness, or if required, if you are working for anti-malaria efforts, you can also raise funds to provide vaccines or to provide prevention materials and donate the money to any organization that distributes mosquito nets, supports communities with medication and treatment, or work on vaccine and treatment research efforts, or at least you can join the events wherever there is promotion going on like this, online events, offline events, and support the events and get some insights and share with others. So the least we can do is at least, contribute our time and support to whatever efforts others are doing. If at least if we are not able to initiate something on our own. So learn about how malaria spreads, where it's most prevalent, and how to protect yourself if you live in or travel to an at-risk area. Malaria can affect anyone in many parts of the world, so it's important that people have accurate information about the disease. Finding some useful information from a reputable organization to share on social media is a great option. Mosquitoes cause more deaths than any other animal on earth. When they are trying to reproduce, female mosquitoes need to feed on blood for the protein. Males and female mosquitoes not trying to produce eggs subsist on flower nectar. So male and female mosquitoes synchronize their wing beats with their mates. Unlike most bugs, mosquitoes aren't attracted to light but to carbon dioxide. So this gives them indication that a mammal with tasty blood is nearby. So the sharp proboscis that mosquitoes use to draw blood has inspired the design of improved, less painful hypodermic needles used in the medicine. Malaria is a common disease that can show up practically anywhere, and it's important to know how it's transmitted, when you are at risk, and how to protect yourself. Without a vaccine, malaria still ravages population around the world. Research organizations are working consistently to find a vaccine and improve treatment. Although there's a long way to go before the disease is eradicated, medical science breakthroughs have led to improved treatments for patients, better prevention measures, and a stronger understanding of the disease and its vectors. Today is also commemorated as National Radio Day in the US on August 20. I will be coming to you on frequencies for National Radio Day. Radio was once one of the most incredible technologies on Earth, used by militaries and governments alike, like navigation, for news distribution, and more. It made news and music for more accessible and brought us closer as a nation and a planet. Though today we rely more heavily on the internet and television for what we once relied on, radio is far from dead and increasingly appreciated for its vintage and fantastic content. Public radio broadcasting has its own inventor, and obviously, radio was used for music and changed the landscape of the industry immediately. News took to the radio as well, and announcers could quickly hop on the air to deliver happenings of their day to massive audience. The first radio's news program was broadcast on August 31st, 1920, out of Detroit at the station that survives today as WWJ. In the early 20th century, radio also began to be used for broadcasting sports, aiding telephone services, and even navigating by airplane. With the digital revolution and the wireless era, radio changed and adapted. Today, Though radio is used for variety of functions, it no longer holds its former top slot in the entertainment and news media. With television, the internet, and more, it's hard for radio to compete in that space, but people still love it, and it doesn't look like radio is going away anytime soon. In fact, we appreciate radio even more these days for its old school vintage. Today is also commemorated as National Chocolate Pecan Pie Day in US. As the only nuts native to North America, pecans have come to a special place in many kitchens. There is evidence that Native Americans were consuming pecans as far back as 10,000 years ago. The word pecan is thought to have roots in the Algonquin word meaning hard nut to crack with access to protein sources, sometimes being limited. Native Americans would often turn to nuts as staple in their diet. Sugar pies were extremely popular in medieval Europe, and as Europeans started to immigrate to America, many sugar pie recipes were reimagined using local ingredients. Pecan pie is believed to be a variant of chess pie, which has also a butter, sugar, and custard center. While pecan pies were likely being eaten before the 1800s, the first official published recipe was an issue of Harper's Bazaar magazine in 1886. Pecan Pie's big break came in 1920s when the makers of Karo syrup started writing a recipe for pecan pie on the outside of their packaging. This led to the widespread awareness of the pie and a massive surge in its popularity. So, unfortunately, there is one definitive pronunciation for pecan. Popular interpretations have it pecan, and the variations seem to be influenced by regional dialect differences across North America. The toughest task of a baker is knowing that perfect moment when a pie is done and ready to eat. With chocolate pecan pie, there is a telltale sign of when it's ready to come out of oven. The center of the pie should be nearly solid, and a knife struck in the middle will come out clean. So try the classic recipe, brush on your history, and dine out. Chances are that there's a restaurant, if you cannot make yourself in your neighborhood, which offers hygienic and tasty mint chocolate pecan pie. Armed with all your factoids about the classical dessert, why not put your baking skills to the test? While not every pecan pie includes alcohol, several others include, but that is not a good thing. But always, the pecan pie, as in the original recipe, is always healthy. Chess pie is a very straightforward dessert, a single crust filled with flour, butter, sugar. It was popular in Europe and came to North America as Europeans immigrated across the Atlantic Ocean. A hallmark of a chocolate pecan pie is that gooey middle just below the surface of pecans. During the baking process, pecans will rise to the top, sitting just above the custard middle that we all know and love. It's relatively easy to make, and there are too many variations to count. Today is also commemorated as Hungary National Day in Hungary on August 20. We love these holidays anywhere in the world, and there is no one is exception. So no one's working, offices and universities are shut, it's silent, but still brimming with life because today is country's founding day. The day celebrates numerous people and events that helped create Hungary as we know it today. Fireworks, ceremonies, flags abound. August 20 has multiple meanings for people in Hungary. You'll find that people generally commemorate as it as State Foundation Day. The story begins with Saint Stephen, the first state founder and Hungarian king. After he died in 1038, Saint Stephen became the first canonized saint. His reigns marked an era of transformation in Hungary as the people converted to Christianity under the leadership. He believed it would strengthen Hungarian identity and pride. For these reasons and more, Saint Stephen is considered the founder of Hungary. Besides national pride, the day also has religious significance since its Stephen was both a political leader and a canonized saint. Catholics in Hungary organize various masses to celebrate Hungary's first patron saint. Today is also commemorated as the anniversary of the revolution of the king and the people in Morocco on August 20, a day symbolizing the country's heroic struggle for self-determination from colonial rule. At its heart, this story is about enduring bond between a beloved king and his people. It was bond that turned into a catalyst for revolution as the king and people united against brutal French imperialism. August 20 is more than just a remembrance. It is the anniversary of a liberated Morocco and the beginnings of modernity, development and democracy. So with this, we shall end today's commemorations. Thank you everyone for joining us in these celebrations and commemorations. See you all tomorrow at the same time with the same joining link. With different commemorations and celebrations. Before leaving, we request everyone to quickly fill up the feedback form before leaving the platform. So see you all tomorrow. Take care. Good night.